That sounds good, doesn't it?
It's just like
Well, last year it was later, it was in the middle of May.
Aquarium.
yeah. So yeah, I stopped down. I had to pick up Lauren's little folder, and I was chatting with Brianna. She's off to Italy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for her. She
Yeah.
went to school with our youngest daughter.
Oh, did she?
They're good friends.
Okay.
So she's off to Italy with family. I'm so excited for her. They're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of folks that are going on some neat vacations.
Yeah,
Well, it's
no,
tea,
it's-
but last
it
week I
sounds
brought
really-
a mug that had wine glasses on it, which Joan pointed out to me.
Yeah.
So I figured this week I'll bring a beer glass. Actually, it's because my son has every coffee mug in the house in his room.
Which grade
They're all dirty.
Okay, I'm going to, we'll move on to the, for the good of the cause, and Sonia has
Camera
a
going?
couple of really nice announcements. One is an explanation of our little bag of goods, and the other is an honor that two of our students have actually earned.
Yes, the bags. Every year, as an elementary principal, I have a theme or a motto for the year. So this year, my theme was superheroes, and the idea was that everybody's a superhero. You don't have to have a cape or be able to leap a tall building. We all have superheroes. So you'll see around the elementary school, what kind of superhero are you, and what's your superpower, and signs like that. So we've used it with our PBIS materials and all that. And one of the things that we've done is every month, we have selected a group in the community that represents superheroes. So we started out with our policemen, then we went to firefighters, we've done transportation, we've in the highway department, we've done the electrical department, we've done sewer and water. So we've done different organizations in Lake Placid and Bloomington. And every month, the students, depending on the different grade levels, have different months, create these bags, decorate the bags for us, and then we stuff the bags with little goodies, and we attach the little poem to it. But we wanted to really recognize to the organizations, the groups, that you're a big part of what we do, like the transportation. And you keep the highways safe for us to get to school and get to home and get to different places that we need to. We took some over to the emergency room to say, thank you for keeping us healthy. So this month happens to be local leaders. So the kindergarten is the ones that decorated this month's bags. So they've decorated those bags for you as local leaders, as well as Lake Placid and Wilmington's boards as well. So there was local leaders.
Really nice.
Thank you for being superheroes to our kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very
Thank the
cute.
kindergarten.
Really sweet.
Yeah.
So if you're diabetic, I apologize.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've been asked to talk about was just the reason I'm zipping out of here right away. Wilmington has their community dinner tonight, and they honor their Wilmington Citizens of the Year. They're two of our students. They're two of our fourth graders, Charlie Wilson and Henry Lowar. They started the Hardy Kids mountain bike race that they did this summer that was in conjunction to Wilmington's bike race. They thought they wanted something for the kids and to get the kids involved with the sport. So like I was telling Mary, I just think it's really incredible that the communities recognize that students have the power to change and affect us too. So that's where I'm headed. That's going on this evening. They're both in fourth grade, and they're pretty impressive little kids.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to zip out.
Yes, bye. Enjoy
Thanks
your
so much.
dinner.
Drive safe.
Thank you.
So, Leonard's disappeared again, but the next is, it is time for the budget work session. Wow, here he is.
Okay.
Sit down, please.
We're going to budget workshop, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Are you ready for my?
I'm waiting for you, and I'm gonna try to pull up the PowerPoint myself here.
We're not allowed to have Roger up here anymore. We
Yeah.
decided.
Why isn't it not coming up here?
It downloads.
It
It
takes
comes in as a
time.
download. At least on mine it does.
Yeah.
feel alone. Either.
Is yours taking that long too, Karen?
Do you want this one?
No, I'll be all right.
And Karen printed it out for me, because when I pulled it up on my iPad, which I don't have tonight, I couldn't,
Yeah, I have a printed copy too, but
so.
we want to try to get it up on that screen.
The images were not this light when I tried to get it on the iPad.
So mine went up,
Mine's
Karen, mine went up to the,
Yeah.
I don't know what yours is.
Your little drop down there?
Mine was downloaded and then I had to open it down.
Go down
Down below to the right.
Go way down and it says open.
No, other pull down on the,
On the little O on the bottom.
There we go.
It won't let me, but it won't let me pop on, it won't even let me move.
Go way over to your right,
way over to the right,
your bar, and go down.
keep going right. A little more, a little more.
There.
There you go,
Go
now go
down.
down.
Oh, I see it.
There you go.
Sorry.
What? I can't.
Holy moly, I'm telling you what.
Did you got it, Leonard?
No.
No, I can't see
What am I doing wrong here? I clicked on it.
Yep. Go. Whoops. Don't fight me.
Oh, I didn't go into that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
The other one.
Oh, yeah.
Meetings, go to
All right.
work session here in the meeting.
it.
First time I've helped somebody with a computer.
Wow.
Get a new job, there's another new job in addition to.
And I got to witness it right.
In addition to the.
And me.
Bus driver.
Karen.
and IT
Bus
guy.
driver, IT tech,
IT tech.
athletic director.
Okay,
Oh,
so I guess we're all ready now, right?
And then there's,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's take another one.
So this is our
Oh.
fourth meeting, the budget meeting. If you've already taken a look at it, there's not a whole lot of changes. So we're gonna skip through most of this stuff here. I'm looking at slide 4,
It's okay to read that.
Okay, good for you.
the fourth draft of budget highlights. You wanna scroll down there, Karen?
This one?
No.
Number 4. There, right there. Oh, no,
No,
one more.
not that one.
Sorry. There we go. Okay. So the only real change, if you remember from last meeting, we were waiting for a few things. One of them is the BOCES cost. The other one is the state aid figures that we still haven't gotten yet. So there wasn't a lot of changes, but our BOCES expense came in at 4.3%. I had budgeted 4%. So unfortunately, we went in reverse a little bit from last time. And if you look at that last line item, the total estimated over tax cap is $116,859. And our last meeting, our third budget meeting, we were at 110 and change. So, and I'll go over some of the details when we get to that. But that's really the major change. We've already gone over the staffing versus enrollment several times. I don't think there's any need to, none of that has changed. Let's see.
We still don't have the AD position included in this, right?
The AD is, no, the AD is not in this budget yet. So, looking at still unknown, back up, one more, there. So you see there's line items that we crossed out. We have the health insurance, we got that in mid-February. Actual negotiated salary increases were loaded in February. Final property tax cap, we had that at our last meeting, that was March 1st. And our BOCES costs now, we've got those. So we're really looking at two things yet. State aid, hopefully we're gonna get that by April 1st. We're supposed to, so I'm either expecting it late this week or early next week. Final education, special education costs that are still ongoing. We don't know what the actual enrollment's going to be for next year, so that's really a guess at this point, and I suspect we won't know a real firm figure on that, but we'll have a good estimate that we have in the budget now, and I probably won't change that unless we get any firm information before now and April 10th.
I got a notification from NISBA that said that the Senate figures were like $900-some million, which was more than the executive budget, and then the Assembly was 1.5 million. Both of those plans would increase the amount of foundation aid to over the executive budget.
Right.
We don't know which one and how much.
Right.
But that's their read on it right now.
The bottom line is if we get roughly 117,000, we're in good shape. We don't have to make money changes at all. We can just
117,000 over what we
over what we have right now. If we get $117,000 more in state aid than we have in the budget now, we're done, basically. I mean, we don't have to make any changes.
And how probable is that, Leonard, that would happen based on?
It's probably not likely,
Okay.
but, I mean, you always hope for the best, but, you know, it's just hard to say at this point. We don't have any real idea what it's going to be. I'm just hoping for a little extra. I mean, right now, we're $45,000 less than we were last year.
with the executive budget.
With the executive budget. And if the legislative budget comes out and they say, okay, you get as much as you got last year, then what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, we're giving you $45,000 more. But really, it's not more. It's just from what the executive budget was left, you know, early on this year. So that's the little shell game they play.
Where does the reimbursement from BOCES go? Have you heard that yet? The
Well,
$45,000 reimbursement that will get from BOCES?
Yeah, that goes in our, that's in, are you talking about what budget line do we use?
No, it's from, let me just grab it here. It's from 2016-17 school year. It's a refund.
Yeah, those refunds, they come late.
Okay.
So you got, you know, that's gonna drop right into our BOCES refund budget that we have
Okay, so
this
it's
year in
not-
17-18.
It's not like it's gonna be.
It's not gonna go into the 18-19, but those things, and we usually get 2 of those a year.
Mhm.
And there were roughly, actually, I think we got 3 of them. They're actually $45,000 a piece.
Okay.
So those are
So this
refunds.
has all been factored in, that's,
Oh, yeah, that came back, that's for 17-18 year. That's the year we're in now, right now.
right.
But that's when we get it, and it comes from the 16-17 year, and then yeah. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with our BOCES state aid, that's just a refund of,
I thought it was an overpayment that they.
well, what it is that they, they charge people for, you know, overall they charge for a certain expense, and that it's in their budget. And then at the end of the year, when their expenses don't meet, then they're required to refund that money
They
back to the
can't maintain a
districts.
fund balance.
Exactly, and that's what it is. It's just refunded back to the school districts. Okay, so still unknown is the state aid and special ed, and we'll move to the next one there. Next one here. So this is what we're looking at right now. These are things that are in the budget. Right now, we've got the RTI math teacher at $70K with the benefits. Conferences and curriculum development we have in there right now, and we could, you know, there's a possibility we can cut $15,000 out of that. Extra duty pay, we're looking at $25,000, holding the line on that. Hardware and materials, that's computer technology area that we're looking at possibly cutting 12 out of that. Pickup trucks that are in the budget, it's $15K. That's 2 vehicles that we're looking at replacing, 2 trucks that we're replacing with 2 new ones on a municipal lease. That estimate is at $7,500 per year. I just got some updated figures this morning. That's probably going to be closer to 12 or 13,000 if we, you know, if we actually do go for that. That $15,000 a high estimate is what I'm saying, so it's between 12 and 13 is what the, a year with the municipal leases will be on those vehicles.
Is a municipal lease similar to a regular lease?
Well, it's
You and I
basically a loan, you're just borrowing money, yeah.
So it's not a lease, as.
No,
as
it's,
we
you
know.
own the vehicle, you own the vehicle after it's, so. The librarian we have in there at 70,000 with benefits. So those figures combined right there come up to actually 117, that's actually more than 117, I can't, okay, I can't see, okay. 117,000, I mean, that's what we need to get. But all those possibilities there will easily get us to that 117 if we have to take care of all those. We're just waiting to additional state aid, that's a question right now. It's also a chance to use more fund balance if we have to. So, Roger and I'll be working on this as soon as we hear what that state aid figure is. We'll be crunching numbers again and making sure that this comes into the ballpark where we need to be. Okay. So we'll just scroll through these. The next couple of pages here, I have the, that's the total overall estimates that we'll go over individually in a little bit here. And the details, the tax cap calculation, that's the same as it's been. The only one I really want to, the budget reduction proposals, that sheet there, we're going to go over that in a little more detail after we're done with this. The thing I want to show you here is the budget reduction schedule. So you can see where we were at A3, that was last meeting, $110,150. Now we're at $116,859. So we kind of took a step back. Not a big step back, but that's the additional BOCES cost. So that's what we need to make up, that $116,859. So if there's no further questions or anything, we'll just move into the actual details, and we'll go over each one of the slides on those.
Do you want to start this one?
Yep. So that one is 3F, right? No, 3.
Oh, you want me to go actually to the,
3G, yeah. So this is on the, this is not on the PowerPoint presentation, this is right on the workshop budget information. So it's 3G will be the estimates here. So this snapshot here just shows where it's an overall picture where we're standing at this point, and this is still preliminary with those unknowns not accounted for yet. Our budget is $19,310,777, and that's a 3.13% increase from last year. The levy is estimated at $15,707,112, and right now that's 3.73% higher than it was last year. Moving down the page a little bit, in the left-hand column, I've got the major categories and the amounts. The salaries are still the same as they were at A3, our last meeting, at $315,894. The FICA, that's our Social Security and Medicare portion of our the payroll taxes for the district, $24,166. Employees retirement, that's ERS, that's all of our support staff's retirement fund, and that's $32,452 less than it was last year. Teachers' retirement is at $18,852 more than last year. Our health insurance, that's really the majority of the other expenses there, $162,883. And that represents a 2% increase from our overall budget from last year in the whole consortium. And scrolling down The additional increases and decreases, we have $37,135 in operating expenses. Those are increases. We have a $60,416 increase in BOCES overall. And our handicap and learning disability, that's at zero, is where we're plugged in there. That's what we're showing. So that's $97,551 for a total of $586,894 more than last year's budget. Is there any questions on the front page? That's the overall snapshot estimates. It's pretty much what it was last time, except for that little bit of an increase in the BOCES area. The next one we're going to cover is H3H. That's the budget detail. And this is the report that we're using at this late in the game. We're consolidating all the ST3 codes into one, into their summary codes, so there's not so many lines there to look at. The only real changes in this were in the BOCES area. But they are scattered throughout the administrative, the program, and the capital budget. Actually, there was none in the capital budgets. It's just in the administrative and the programs components of the budgets. There's
So I'm saying all the percent changes we're looking at in the far right column.
On the far right
That's all the
column,
BOCES affecting in the different line items. So
well, yeah, this is the total. The percentages, if you look at a subtotal line, let's just go up. I'll just pick one here. We'll go to the programs area. We'll go to the bottom of the programs area. You see the program component total there, page 7?
Yep.
All right, it's 14 million. That yellow line there is 14 million, 11,000. That was the 17-18 year. And then the proposed, this is our 18-19 year budget. That's 14,499,000 there. So that's a 3.48% increase from last year's program expenses. And that includes all the, all the line items in the programs area, including BOCES. There's only a couple of line items for BOCES in there. The transportation, let's see, and then the teaching, computer assistance, instructional, there's some BOCES expense there. Media, BOCES, handicap, BOCES, occupational education, that's the big one. That's our kids that go over to Saranac Lake at AEC. That's a real jump there. That's a 10.76% increase from last year.
And part of that's driven by more students are taking.
More students,
advantage
that's
of it.
right. Yep.
Leonard, how many students do we have that come in? I see on there's a line item that says tuition/day school individuals. How many students on average do we have that come into our district that are from other districts? Is that what that line item is?
No. Which one are you looking at? The revenue?
I'm way on page 10, and I was.
Yeah, you're down at the revenue side. Okay. So those are tuition-paying students. Yes, those are students that don't live in our district that come to school here. Maybe some of them have parents that work here and they live in another school district and they come here, or parents that want to send their kids to the great school we have here, and they
Maybe
they
10.
pay for it.
10?
Maybe.
Okay.
So is there any other questions on these detail? Pretty much the same as it was last one. I've just consolidated these for this. And this is the way we'll look at it. And this is the exact way it'll show up on the budget book when we put the budget book together. Okay, the next slide we're gonna go to is proposed adjustments. So that's number 4B. And this is the new sheet, and this is what we're just following the practice that we've followed for years. So these are the actual changes from our original budget that we started off with, and we're catching it up all the way to A4 now. And if you look at the right-hand column, the ones that show approved, BOE, Board of Education approved, those were adjustments that were made in the past meetings. The only new one here, again, at the bottom and the other adjustments is BOCES. And you can see the total increase cost, it was only a 0.3% increase, and that increase was only $6,709 overall. And that's what put us in that's what increased it to that reduction schedule, which we'll look at next.
And sabbatical increase too.
Well, that was, yeah, that was there. We had those in A3. Those were already approved, but if you want me to go over those, I can go over them again.
No.
No, it's not.
I have a question, as far as both those, did the sabbatical come?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so we don't know.
We don't know if that's going to happen yet, but as of now, it's in the budget that way. Yeah.
Right, so, I think this is similar to the question last time. So you're putting in a proposed adjustment because the teacher that has resigned, with the assumption that the person that replaces her is gonna come in at a lower
Less.
salary.
Correct.
But it's a pretty significant position that there may need to be, like, if somebody applied who had years of experience and qualifications, then that isn't necessarily gonna be there.
That's possible, yes. But at this point, we're looking at having that person coming in at 49. I believe that's a master's, a step 5. I think that's what I put in there, is at 49,383, and the existing teacher is at 72,344 right now.
So what would a like 1 year experience salary be? And
That would
much
be
lower?
even lower than that. That would be closer to 45. Yeah.
And then, is there just not, Mary had asked about the athletic director position being worked into the budget, but is that just not gonna happen for this budget?
No, we plan on having it, but we just didn't put it in this one. I'm kind of waiting for that state aid figure. And then we'll be adjusting for that.
And then there was another slide that talked about food service and the SAT question about the payment, the amount that would be, because that had been discussed as far as covering the cost for SAT exams. And that had been talked about, but there was gonna be just a number, just to have us have an idea of how much that would be, and I wondered when we might get that.
I don't recall the SAT.
The AP exam, AP, SAT,
We
SAT.
Wilmington, we did talk about it, but I don't think we
Talk
went
about
further than that.
Yeah, it was
mean, we-
increasing the food service salary.
Well, but the food service,
AP,
see, the food service is not part of the general fund. That's the fund all on its own. And if you go up in the slide above, let's go back up to the detail one, 3H. And go down to the programs. I think it's on page page 7. See that line item there? It says transfer to school lunch, 90,000. So that 90,000 covers, that's the general fund portion that we have to fund food service in order to keep them in the black. They'll run a deficit without that. So that's a general fund expense, and it moves over to food service at the end of the year. We transfer that money over. Now, the food service, in the last couple of years, I mean, last year we moved that to 90,000, and right now it looks like we're gonna still need that 90,000 for the 17-18 year, so that's why I've got that 90,000 in for the 18-19 budgeted.
It's in the slide, it's
It
here
is,
on
yes,
the
it's
slide
in the
showing.
slide.
That's
Last
number
percent.
7.
I just wondered, I just wondered if there's ever gonna be a number associated with those bullet points. So,
Can
that was
you
my
make
question.
that a little bit higher or bigger, Karen?
No, it's a PowerPoint.
And
So,
But this
they won't, the only thing on the SAT and AP, and those costs there, those costs are already in the budget and on the line item in the education area. So you're talking about, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
We're asking if students can have those fees, be reimbursed for those fees that they have to pay out for SATs, and other tests be paid for, so that they're
Could you
able
send
to
me
take
that?
it and not have to worry about the expense.
Okay, okay, now I remember, yeah.
Here,
So no, there's not a line item in there, but that is such an insignificant cost.
Very much fine.
I mean, if you want me to put a couple thousand in there, I can. It's such an insignificant cost. Overall, there's enough in the, right now, in the programs area, in the teaching programs, that there's not a line item in there for that, but we do have a testing line item in there, and there's like, I think there's like 3,000 in that line item right now, so. But, yeah, I mean, if,
So do we just do a resolution saying that we're gonna do that, and then that takes care of it? We just don't want it to slip through the cracks, I think.
I don't know that we even need a resolution, I think
You
it's.
just don't want it to fall, just
Yeah.
It might.
It's one, I can tell you.
To me, it should be a line item in the guidance,
well,
office.
here's what I think you should do, is you should do a resolution to approve the reimbursement, to make sure all those SATs, the testing is paid for by the district, and then the student doesn't have to bear that cost, and then be done with it.
Is SAT and
So we
AP or?
don't, so we don't need to
And
know
yes,
the
it's-
amount of that, it seems like it would add up, but, I mean, just from the pick sheet and separate from the bridge courses.
Well, if you want to,
Take a
if you want to put a number on it, we can do that. It's not a big deal.
I think it's something needs to be discussed, in terms of what would that be, and if it's, and then where would it come from?
It'd be in the guidance area, out of the guidance budget.
Because it would be the bridge courses too, we're looking.
That would be, I mean, I don't know how the guidance office budget is, but I would think it would be a significant
Seems like
hit
it,
to them.
yeah.
It seems like we need to be sure that we would have to up the guidance office's budget
Yep.
in order that it isn't a hit to the guidance services.
So we can get just a number, roughly
Yeah.
what that would be, and then we can, I don't think it's that much. I think
No.
we just get a number and say we'll pay it.
And
I
then
think it's, I know we have this expense every year, and the kids, they pay for it, and we collect the money back from them, and I rarely believe it ever exceeded 3,000.
Well, I think in this case, I think instead of having the kids pay, it would.
Yeah, it would just be a
district
cost.
pay.
Yeah.
But the district already, they pay that up front, and then the kids pay for it.
Yeah, when the kids choose those classes, they have to pay that money. If they're gonna get the bridge
Right.
credit, they have to bring in a check. It
Exactly.
discourages.
Yeah.
But there are students that drop the class or don't take it because they do not have the funds to cover
Okay.
that expense.
Right.
And so it can't be the fact that the kids figure out how to do it.
No,
It would have to be told along with the pick sheet to the kids to say, you know, where there are the asterisks, that's for you to know, but that will be covered.
right.
all
Right.
giving that.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's done, not
I'll
not
put a
saying
number
that
on
it
it.
is.
And it'll be in the next
That would be
presentation.
good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Leonard, wasn't there something with the Adirondack Foundation that was coming into play with some of the SAT prep courses for some of the students that wanted to apply for some of those
I think
scholarships?
the Ad Hoc Fund is looking to
Okay.
do that, do some of this, but I don't know that they would be able to cover the full amount, but they certainly are willing to, I think,
Yeah.
if that's been discussed.
I don't know of any details on that.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
saw an
there-
article again today on it, that they're encouraging students to apply for the XX funds that they have in that particular category. So I don't know.
My concern is the kids that need it may not
May not do it
take
without,
the
because they don't have.
initiative to apply to a fund to, or be able to navigate those steps, and that way then you're only helping the kids who already have some pretty strong skills to be able to navigate those steps. My other question was on that same slide, under it, where it said for food service, because I think it had been something that Roger had mentioned as far as the, I don't know if it was the salary or but it was the positions. I didn't know if,
Well, I can give you a little bit of background on that. That's, we're looking at possibly, putting more hours, having that food service staff member, the food service director here, 4 days a week instead of 3 days a week. So that's the difference.
so my question with that was one of our action items tonight, and the food service leave. There's a cook with an extended leave.
Maternity leave.
So then that's being covered, but then there'll need to be a replacement, and I'm just wondering if that would increase this as far as the budget for next year. That was my other question.
That leave will not increase it.
And covering it doesn't.
We don't pay salary, it's
Right.
it's an unpaid leave. but-
Right, so we're gonna be-
We'll maintain
so
our
it's gonna be
Sick
a,
leave.
it's gonna be a
sick leave,
wash.
right, sick leave,
Yeah, but there's not enough, she just started.
Okay, that was my other question.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So that'll be a wash, basically, on that. Okay. So moving along, let's go back to, let's see, where were we?
We did the 4B. Did you cover all the 4B?
Yeah,
The reduction proposals, is everybody fine with that?
yeah.
Okay, then the next one is, we're gonna drop down to budget reduction schedule,
6D.
6D. And that's where we show the amount of money that we have to make up in order to balance the budget by April the 10th. As you can see, we're at A3 again, we were at $110,150, and now we kind of backed up a little bit because of the BOCES, increase in BOCES costs. Any questions on that slide?
Leonard, I have a question. This is going back a little bit to what Patty was talking about, the food service category and all of that.
Uh-huh.
And this may have already been answered many times, but in the food area with the students that are on free and reduced in that program, do you feel as a district that it gets maxed out, that the families that should be applying to get free and reduced are actually doing it, so that you do get that kind of reimbursement back from the government, or not?
We have a significant amount of free and reduced. Yeah, I mean, I don't have that exact number,
Okay.
but we're close to that 40% of our
Okay.
school children that are free and reduced.
And the parents actually do the form?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
at the last couple beginning of the year parent meetings, at least at the middle high school, they made a point of talking about it and letting parents know, actually specifically asking parents, even if they don't think they qualify, to take a second look at it, because they keep shifting the numbers, and, explained that, and it seemed to be a very positive thing in how they presented it.
Okay.
And when we went to the legislative breakfast, we talked with our legislators, one of the suggestions was that the tax agency, the state tax board, has information in terms of where people are in the salary range, if they would qualify.
Okay.
But that's not shared with the state agency that oversees the free and reduced lunches. So the question was, couldn't those two agencies share that information so that the districts could then know who would qualify and could really go out and say, would you please consider it. It has been made a little bit easier in that if some people are already getting services, they're automatically enrolled in it. So I think that in part accounts for why there's been a pretty dramatic increase in our numbers.
No, that's good.
I think that swipe card thing too made a big difference. I mean, that was years ago that was instituted, but I think that really took the stigma off.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
So, we're still in a waiting game until our state aid comes in. And as we mentioned in the PowerPoint there's still a possibility we could use a little more fund balance to balance things out too.
Great entrance for me. That's my concern.
Yeah.
It's just the continuation of the fund balance. Yeah. We went up $60,000 last year, we're going up $30,000 more this year. What would you see as the end point of that? I mean,
well, let me
into your savings.
We've increased it from last year to this year, and then we're looking at a little bit of increase next year. In the past 2 years, we've been real lucky. We haven't had to dip into that. I mean, so
for other reasons.
Right.
Right.
So things have worked out in our favor, and we didn't have the expenses that we thought we were going to have when we budgeted. And it's not a real cut and dry projection. I mean, we're projecting expenses right now that are going to get approved in April, and our new school year doesn't even start until July. And you've got so many changes that happen, not only from the date that we approve the budget, and that things change from the date you approve it to the date it even gets voted on in May, 1 month. And then you got 2 more months, and then things, you get, a lot of times things change, new school year, teachers retire, teachers move, we have turnover. So those things happen, and our historically, I believe we've been very good at projecting, using that particular fund balance amount, and it's been pretty consistent. It hasn't gone up significantly, over $100,000. I mean, we were down at $300,000 a few years ago, and now it's creeped up to $5 million, but it's been pretty consistent, and luckily we haven't had to use it, so.
And the fund balance continues to grow year after year.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It has grown. The year before last, we were 150. Last year, we had 275 extra. So
I have one other question. There was mention, and I can't remember when it was, that there were some, it was, I think when we were talking about a policy at one point, that there were some English language learners coming into the district. And I just didn't know if there were any expenses foreseen for next year because of that.
not specifically. No, what we have, I mean, there's money in the education and the programs area that we've had in the past. We didn't have many increases in that, so.
And there is state aid. I mean, that's the state aid proposals all include increases in aid for
that?
Yes, for that.
I think No, I think adding two positions, when there are several miscellaneous areas that we know we need to add money to, adding two positions along with knowing about a third position or a part of a position, that's never been quite sorted out.
The AD you're
With
talking
the
about?
AD, that would be adding 3 positions. I think that's a lot to take on in 1 year, as far as being confident and being able to keep moving forward with that. I think that would be like we might be able to get by with it with pulling from the fund, but it seems like that would be a pretty big,
Well, our
addition.
first decision would be, after state aid comes in, that would be the last resort, going to extra fund balance, using extra fund balance. I think there's, ways of cutting areas and other areas to make it balanced, but right now we're at a standstill. I don't want to move anywhere until we get that
Yeah,
state
and
aid figure.
Yeah, and I guess if we were going to establish priorities, for me, in terms of what could we move forward with, I think the first thing I would look at in terms of could we do without that would be the RTI math position. I would look at, really, if I had to choose between the librarian and especially given the information that
Right.
Roger presented, and the RTI math position, I would go with the librarian as having the biggest impact on the biggest number of students.
Right.
That would be my priority.
So that list that we had on the PowerPoint there, those areas, those are things that are in the budget right now. And, these are the decisions that we'll be making here in the next
Right.
week or so.
Except AD,
Except for AD, we haven't-
That's a half person, that's a
Yeah,
half
it's a half,
position, yeah.
it's a half position.
Do you have to do a full-time position for both of those? Could it be something where you have a half-time math specialist and a half-time librarian, or does that not work?
It just limits in terms of the quality of the applicant, I think.
We've basically been running, if you think about it, we have one librarian for both schools and she goes back and forth, so it's kind of like a half position at each building.
But student numbers, it's still
Well within
it's
the.
recommended guidelines for a librarian.
Yeah.
Our student numbers, and what they project as far as what needs are with students, how many, it covers it. Not that there's a lot of information that we got saying why it could be better. I'm just saying we haven't shorted it necessarily.
We meet the recommendation, the
Yeah.
state recommendation.
That was a question I had. There seems to be a lot of support for the librarian, but not a lot of support, at least moving forward with documents and things for the math position.
Right.
So,
I think
was that an
I-
indication of importance?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
I think it was brought up before as not only this year, but sustainability.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Other questions?
So today I got the BOCES budget booklet, I
Yeah.
put it in there.
Right.
Karen, athletic director / teachers listed on the unemployment page. And I know the deadline's in a week and a half, but have you had any interest?
Yes.
Is the math position posted?
Yeah.
Can you say whether it's internal or external for AD? Were there
I don't think
any-
I've actually had any applicants for the AD
Oh, okay.
physically. I had PE and the 5th grade kindergarten.
But the AD is out there. Yeah.
Can we find out for the next meeting when the math position is going to be posted?
the retiree amount.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess an estimate on when we're gonna get
The resignation.
the
The-
resignation position posted, and when we're gonna get the proposed sabbatical.
Is there a date on?
There is, and it's not,
It's
it's
May
not,
something.
it's something, yeah.
Oh, May. Put that down for negotiated item next time.
Yeah. Any other,
Earlier in the year.
yeah, any other questions? They have to give an indication that they're going to do it earlier, and then the details they have until later. Okay, then we'll move back to the regular agenda. And we go to reports. So Leonard, you're still on.
Still on.
The first report is the budget status
Thought I was gonna
report.
get a break there for a minute.
No.
Okay.
Covered it all already.
Yeah. So number 5A, budget status report, is that what we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is our budget status report for the month of February. Year-to-date revenues is $15,154,593. Our other tax item revenues is $18,168. Charges for services, $23,242. Use of money is $7,131. Miscellaneous revenues at $48,520. State aid is $1,380,897 for a total revenue through February of $16,632,551. Looking at last year, overall collected compared to last year, we're just about 0.5% lower than we were last year at this time. And it looks like the majority of that is our state aid. Any questions on the revenue side? On the expense side, salaries at $783,819. Employee benefits is $4,185,859. Contractual and BOCES expenses through February were $1,744,617. Materials and supplies, $288,342. Equipment expense was $50,721. Debt service, $171,282. And our textbooks aid our expenses were $14,991 for a total of $11,239,671. And going over, looking at the expenditures, we're just about 2.5% more than we were last year at this time. It looks like the majority of that is in the benefits, and I went back and looked at that. We made one more payment in the month of February than we did last year. We do them on a payroll basis. It wasn't actually the payroll, but we ended up with two checks through one check higher in payments than we did last year at this time. So that's why that's 77%.
So that would even out by the end of the
Yeah,
year?
yeah, it'll even out by the end of the year.
Okay. Questions? Great, thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome.
We have the treasurer's report. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report?
No, sorry.
We'll move on to the health and safety for building and grounds report. We can meet. And there are minutes. Does anybody have any questions on what was reported in the minutes?
So it looks like end of summer before security cameras, surveillance.
It has to happen in the summer. So
Yeah.
In
that's-
summer,
You've got to commit by April, what?
Yeah, mid-April, yeah.
The
She, yeah, we have to, I haven't talked to her yet either, so I'll be in contact with her hopefully by the end of this week. And
Could you invite me to that meeting?
sure,
I'd
absolutely,
like to just sit
You
in.
need one?
yeah.
I don't know, I read it somewhere, but I don't see
In
it.
fact, I think, we invite the whole
Yeah,
committee.
that would be good, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
The cost associated with that.
It's $100,000.
I saw it somewhere, but I can't grab it.
May have been in the previous report.
Yeah.
Would the members that were there, are there additional members to the committee that are listed? I'm just wondering about
Yeah, there is.
parents or.
There is a parent,
Notice.
it's Bob, there is a parent, and Brad
Brad Hathaway,
Hathaway.
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
He was invited, but he didn't show.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Yeah. Move on to information for the board, and there's a couple things. There's the course request sheet and there are questions on that. And then there's the 2018 election notification, the fact that there are 3 board seats that are open. And I would like to introduce, it's a good time to introduce Martha Spear, who is in the audience and is anticipating running for one of those seats.
Hello.
With my colleague, so thank you for coming.
Here to learn.
Yeah. And then Patty attended a workshop at NYSBA and has included a couple slideshows, the free speech slideshow and then the student privacy rights slideshow. I don't know, Patty, you want to add anything?
Yeah, we actually were looking, December or January, I don't remember which month the policy meeting was in, but January policy meeting, we had gotten an update, with the update service from NYSBA, they had kind of put student expression policies on, kind of down in the corner, saying that that was something that was going to be coming up, and Roger had brought that up at an earlier meeting, that that was something that he wanted to look at, that he feels that the district needs. And so that is what this workshop was about, and we were planning on looking at those policies at our April meeting, and then they came up with this workshop because of the situations that are happening nationally. And it was very good. They had attorneys, and they presented scenarios and different court findings, and then they had like 4 members of the NYSBA policy team, and they would then direct, as the people board members, administrators had questions, they would then say, well, you'd want to look at this policy, and they direct them to the existing policies to help guide how they handle the situations. But it was very well presented. And the one thing I wanted to share, I don't know which order these were in, so the second one. Let me see if I can find it quick, because it was very good. They had and they said they were going to provide the policies, because they have 2. They have one for individual student expression, and then they also have school-sponsored student expression, and they stressed that there needs to be a recognized difference in those. Karen, if you can click on the second, that one, yes, and then go to page 26. Sorry, but it's really, I think we've seen it before in another format. Yeah, this was about having the emails are accessible, and when teachers, it was that they presented to teachers, this green eggs and ham. And it doesn't necessarily relate just to schools, it should be on every computer.
Or not the small one. It's actually
Post-it
51.
I thought it was really clever.
Oh,
So they had a lot of very good information.
it's 51.
And there was quite a division among the board members there as far as student expression that was happening on the Wednesday before. And there were schools that felt very strongly that, you know, they made it a truancy and they were keeping the students inside for safety reasons. And then equally passionate were other board members in schools who felt that they needed to allow the students their expression. And so it was being, originally with the attorneys, and they were pointing them to their own district's policies. But while we were sitting there, Jay Warona was there and he got an update, and it was from the governor's office that was saying that there had been, because they kept stressing that they needed to keep the students out of politics. And then he was in the back of the room, he was kind of a moderator. And he did this huge sigh, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to tell you about this." And he goes, so we're no longer keeping them out of politics. This has been put out there, and this is gonna change the dynamic. But he gave very, and I had talked to Roger about this when I came back, he gave very, because of so many changes in the political situation and so many people having strong opinions, he said that if as a district you can just work hard in these situations to make it, talk with within your own district, make it your own, and make it not be about politics one way or the other, but make it more about student expression and student safety, and narrow in to what everyone can agree on as the focus of it, that you're gonna be, it's better for the students and it's better for the district. So they're hoping to come up with some language to be able to pass it on. But in here, there are links to recommendations, but he said they're gonna constantly be changing.
Yeah.
But with that said, he said, I'm gonna go back to what I said before, and if you can make it your own. They had, and I wasn't aware of that, but instead of the out, they had the walk up. Some districts, that the students were encouraged to walk up to another student that they've never had an interaction with, and that changing the conversation about, you know, why this is happening and to be inclusive with fellow students was a positive way to go about it. So it was good. It was really, it was nice that they presented.
It was very timely.
It was. I was happy because, you know, we were planning on doing the policies in April, and then when I got there, things got, there were people pretty passionate about the Wednesday before. It was just the day before everything had happened. It was a very well-timed. And they are concerned with April 20th, and they do plan on sending out, NESBA plans on sending out some recommendations to districts for that date, so.
Are they talking about another walkout at that time?
So,
All day.
It's all
but a
day.
more, yeah, so they said
I didn't hear that.
17 minutes you can get away with creatively by saying it wasn't a disruption to the school. There's no way you can say a day is not a disruption, so districts are gonna have to take a harder look at it. But they're hoping to come up with some recommendations or guidance.
No, I haven't seen the policy updates yet. They're okay.
I searched.
Yeah,
How could I do it that? But, no, and they said they were gonna, as soon as this was over, they were gonna send those other ones, and I didn't get them. So
Okay, and I haven't seen any.
I was gonna ask you if you had gotten them.
No.
Yeah.
So, next agenda item is linking goals with the agenda items. I had Board of Ed member attendance, conference attendance, leadership, budget workshop, under finances, building and grounds report, go under finances,
Those are students first and foremost.
students first and
For sure.
foremost, yes.
Which one was students first and foremost?
Health and safety.
Oh.
Any others?
I think so.
What was the first one you said was?
The Board of Ed member attendance at the conference.
Yeah, no, you had that one, the one before that. That was
Budget
leadership.
workshop.
Budget workshop.
Oh, the budget workshop. Thanks.
That moves us to the discussion, the policy 2160. You want to lead this discussion?
No.
Okay.
Can it lead itself?
I guess. We did discuss this 2 meetings ago, because this policy was up for second reading approval. We felt because of the board members felt that because of the issue involving the Board of Ed and superintendent serving as in a non-advisory capacity to the EOF fund, that policy should reflect that there was not based on our lawyers' memorandum and now the addendum, that there should be a statement in there that was not a violation of either the municipal act or law or the comptroller's decision. And we're back to that. Roger has suggested language. It's been based on Douglas Gerhardt, our lawyer's addendum. Recusal is not required when a board member acts as a volunteer for the charitable entity. Such the board member is advisor to the fund. She is made, that would be the language that would be proposed.
And so this is going as a recommendation to the policy committee?
That's the idea.
So my request is that if we can get something from Harrison Beach that is not on a confidential memo with that language, because something would need to be reviewed by the policy committee. So that was the request that I had sent out.
And as I pointed out in my response to that request is that will add to the cost that we've already incurred in this discussion. I guess it would leaving it up to the board in terms of, is it worth more cost? Or is this enough? I mean, we really could, as a board, we have the authority really to add this without going to the policy committee.
Would a telephone call to Douglas just asking if we could remove
To
it?
make it public. But it's his policy that when he communicates
Okay,
with
that-
his client, that
It's
it is
confidential.
confidential
Okay.
at that stage. But if we choose to make it public, we can.
Okay.
In
Well,
fact, I think the original one was in the public sector. Certainly the discussion was in the public sector.
Yeah, both memos are marked confidential. And the language that Roger proposed is referred to, but that, from when Jeff explained to me what had happened at the meeting that I missed, and that a question was going back to get the language, I thought we would get the specific language from Douglas Gerhardt, from Harrison Beach, that could then be provided to the committee for review.
You know,
So-
what we asked him for was an explanation of the comptroller's ruling and connecting it to a person serving in a volunteer, non-voting capacity, advisory
And I wasn't
capacity.
there for the thing, but, so just as far as, what we've done in the committee when something's been added to policy, or there's been something for the members to review. And I think that's an important piece. The policies, one of the required policies for the district. And if the language in it is going to be changed, and I don't understand, I guess I didn't realize that a second request for an explanation was being asked for. I thought the question was what the language would be to be added to the policy, and I didn't see a direct answer to that. Language was referred to, but there wasn't the statement, plus it's confidential and can't be shared with the committee.
Well, it can be
So-
shared if we deem that necessary,
Okay,
because it's confidential to us and what we do with it.
okay, so,
And
and I
that's
don't,
my
I don't
understanding.
understand.
Yeah, and the
Absolutely,
first
yeah.
one is, also marked confidential, but it's in the public sector of, board docs.
On the it was on the.
The July-
July one, it's under public?
I believe so.
I thought it was under executive. But maybe it got moved out after we discussed it.
So I propose that we allow this to be viewed within the policy committee and through the normal activities of a committee, see what they come up with. Does their decision parallel with what we've all said and what Roger has said here? And if it doesn't, then I think we need to take action otherwise.
I agree with
I
that.
don't want to take the power away from the policy
No,
committee.
but I think the making the memo available is fine.
Anybody else? Okay, and that's what
I think
we'll
it's just attorney-client privileges, that's why it's confidential. What we do with it is our business.
It's not it's in private
Is it?
in July. Yeah, I don't think it's ever been
And
public.
I think there was another, not with this, not related to this, but a couple of years ago when there was information provided, that there was a request to move it out of executive because it didn't seem, and we were told no, it needed to stay there because of, so I don't understand that, and so I just would want to be sure that I'm the one who usually distributes this to the policy committee electronically prior to meetings, and I certainly absolutely do not want to be distributing something.
I guess Roger would be the only one that would be the stopgap to that, but. And I think we can send it out to the policy committee as an arm of this board,
Yes.
and that they maintain confidentiality of that memo.
But we usually have a record of why policies were, like something to reference with the, when we change things because it's based on NISBA, then it's, the NISBA update was reviewed, we have that to reference because, Karen does this afterwards, you're able to see, so if someone else were to be able to go back and see why the changes were made, they're able to track it, not that suddenly language showed up, so.
Yeah, and I think,
So if it's
Yeah.
being shared, I think it needs to be allowed to be public for review. Not that it's distributed, but that if somebody were interested as to why it's changed, that they would have access to the,
And I don't
all
have
the
any,
information.
I don't have any problem with that being made public.
yeah.
I
I
don't-
think it would just be the
think it's-
okay that they're okay with it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that labeled it that way.
Well, they labeled it that way because they're trying to protect the client confidentiality. if we as a client choose not to keep it confidential, then that's fine.
Okay,
It's just they couldn't without our permission,
okay,
but we can.
okay.
And I think staying away from citing our attorney as versus citing what he has
Law.
cited.
Cite the law, right?
Right.
He did our
Or
homework
the,
for us.
the opinion, whatever they're using, it's the, it's both.
Yeah, the comptroller's opinion
Right, it's both, I think, the line of the comptroller's opinion, or interpretation.
Anything else?
That works?
All right, then let's move into the action items. The minutes, we did with consent agenda. We have a teaching staff sick leave request. The proposed action reads, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve the sick leave request of Bob LePeck, science teacher at the middle and high school, from April 9th, 2018 through May 3rd, 2018. Is there a motion to accept this sick leave request?
Yes.
Thank you, Patty. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there discussion, questions? If not, then let's please
Let's
vote.
Moving fast.
It hasn't come up
Oh,
yet.
what's going on?
Error.
Errors. Let's try it again.
So, yes. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yay, nay, or abstain.
It's because we're trying
Still.
to show how well this works.
Yeah, popped Panera, yet it voted.
Yeah, I know, because it said not president, vote for everybody.
Jeffrey, we're waiting on you.
I voted.
Did you vote yes?
I voted yes.
Okay, motion carries, 6-4-0 against.
I'm not telling you.
CSEA maternity leave request. It's not coming up, here we go. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, Sarah Angus, cook at the elementary school, be granted a maternity leave in accordance with Article 3, Section H of the CSEA contract dated July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2020. The maternity leave will begin on or about May 28th, 2018 through June 30th, 2018. Is there a motion to approve this leave request?
Yes.
Thank you, Patty. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Colleen.
I will admit that when I was reading this, again, I was having issues with my iPad, that I thought, I did not see that the contract was what that 20 was, and I thought her maternity leave was going through 2020.
I did the same thing.
And I
And I
thought,
said, are you kidding me?
right. So I
It's like
feel much
April
better
to
about the
draft last
budget,
year.
I'm just gonna say. Yeah,
Okay.
so,
She wants your
Because I
child
only
in
added the
school.
stuff in
Yeah,
here
before she
today.
comes back.
okay, good.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, because
Okay.
there were blanks in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, there were,
Well,
thank you.
I did, good. Well, thanks
Okay,
for
we can all
being
vote,
generous.
and the motion carries 6-4-0 against. Other action items, we've already done the policy second read donation acceptance. The resolution, the proposed resolution reads, whereas the Lake Placid Central Schools Board of Education policy number 6255, donations, gifts, and grants to the district allows for the superintendent of schools. Am I right?
Which one are we on?
We're on the donation acceptance.
9B.
9B, yes.
Did I mess you up?
Superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500, whereas monies have been granted in the amount of $4,000 from the Lake Placid Vacation Corporation for the purpose of an annual outstanding performance in academics, arts, and sports scholarship. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts the grant from Lake Placid Vacation Corporation for the purpose of the annual outstanding performance in academic scholarship in the amount of $4,000. Is there a motion to approve this donation?
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
select Dan. Is there a second? Joe?
Yes.
Thank you. Other questions or discussion? If not, let's please vote. Jeff, yours is not working right.
Oh, Dave, no.
Okay, good. Motion carries 6-4-0 against. And then the second donation acceptance. Proposed resolution reads, whereas Lake Placid Central Schools Board of Education policy number 6255, donations, gifts, and grants to the district, allows for the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500, whereas the monies have been granted in the amount of $5,000 per year for 4 years from the Lake Placid Education Foundation. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts the scholarship monies from the Lake Placid Education Foundation in the amount of $5,000 per year for 4 years. Is there a motion to approve this donation? Thanks, Rick. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thanks, Dan. Are there questions or is there discussion? If not, then let's please vote. And the motion carries 6-4-0 against. The next one we're approving after the date. Yeah, so, again, the proposed resolution reads, whereas Patricia Gallagher, board member, wishes to attend the policies for student free speech and privacy in Latham, New York on Thursday, March 15th, 2018 at the cost of $165, whereas a policy workshop is scheduled in Latham, New York on March 15th, 2018, which is prior to approval to attend the workshop, whereas monies have been budgeted for board members to attend conferences, now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby approves Patricia Gallagher's attendance at the policies for student free speech in Latham, New York on March 15, 2018 at the cost of $165 per person. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Yes.
Thank you, Colleen.
Isn't it the 20th?
It is.
Yeah.
Just-
There-
okay.
and-
Tardiness.
And
Okay.
we had it come
Explain this,
earlier. We had no notice, I had no notice. We got it 3 days
I'm
before the
kidding.
conference. No, but I do, I mean, obviously, I would have,
billed for this.
I would have.
Well, we'll see how the vote goes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Can we use that 165 in next year?
Here you go.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's, we're chiseling away.
Let me write that down.
Chiseling away, that's not good.
Okay.
Normally, they give notice
Way
on their
notice, yeah.
upcoming workshops and,
Yeah.
But
had
these
it,
came really close together. Like I got one from Courtney and then like just a couple days later I got the one from Jay. And I was like, I wonder if Pat
and
got
it's
this.
like, by the way, I think it was on a Monday, and it was Thursday, and I was able, and it was what we were gonna be talking about at the policy
Right.
meeting, but, yeah, there
Thank
wasn't,
you so much for going.
there wasn't
Yeah.
a lot
It
of,
Yeah,
wasn't
thank
bad.
you.
there wasn't a lot of notice on it.
No.
Okay.
I kept feeling like I
It's,
missed it.
it's
when
good,
she
I'm
said
glad
that.
you did it because, it's really, there's no reason not to go to something just
Sure.
because it hasn't been able to go through the approval process.
Right.
I mean, it's,
No, it's very timely. too.
yeah, this
Good
one
to
especially was good.
We will.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll wait.
so everybody voted, motion
Without a
carries,
bucket.
motion's carried, Patty, you're off.
Thank you.
So it's 6-4-0 against. We now move into special ed was approved already. We move into the adjournment phase. Next meeting is the April 10th meeting where we are scheduled to approve the budget. Hopefully all the pieces will have fallen in place by then. April 17th will be a regular meeting here in Lake Placid. That will be the BOCES budget vote. May 1st is a budget hearing in Wilmington and a meeting. And then May 8th will be a budget hearing and a meeting here in Lake Placid. And then we have the budget vote May 15th and school board vote. Any questions about those?
Yeah, I have a question. On Rogers and Leonard's PowerPoint there, they have a work session, final budget draft, March 28th.
I think we had that on the calendar if it was needed.
Needed, yeah.
Okay.
So what about the numbers? So if we're approving the budget at the next meeting, what about those areas that we were talking about? would they be presented at
They're-
that and then we?
They'll be in that, yes, I'll make sure.
Will you
they're in
send
the
that out?
presentation.
Send that
If you get it
out.
early?
Sure.
Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll have all that information.
Where it's gonna show up, it's
first.
gonna be on that proposal. I'll add it in the proposal area,
Right.
that section.
And that, you know, if the budget, the state budget comes in on time, April 1st, there would be plenty of time to
Yeah.
get that out to us
Absolutely.
early, so that we have time to review it and,
Yep.
Yeah, so Karen, was able to open up, it was Wednesday or it was Thursday, it was Thursday morning, which Thursday was my day that I went to NISBA, but also was my day that I could go over the information because we had family over the weekend. So if that's able to happen, as soon as we have the budget, that we can get a notice that it's available, so we have time to look it over and send questions if we have them, that would be helpful, because
Yeah.
trying to look it over and then make decisions
yeah.
all at once is
Yeah,
a little
I
hard.
agree, especially the budget, there's a lot of details to that, and a lot of
And those
unknowns right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, those components that we were missing, if we could
Right.
get those, that would help.
Okay.
So have it available by April 4.
Right.
Wednesday week?
So,
First. Yeah.
when, is that, we're meeting the day before,
The second, oh, Tuesday, right?
Thursday, Tuesday, the 3rd.
No, there is no, because that's
No,
during
no,
spring break.
No, it's not board meeting.
No, you didn't
Without
say
an
that.
agenda
The
setting.
picture, no, I
Is that
couldn't.
too-
The first one I could, but after that, I was like, forget it. Like,
That'll be the
Get
third.
that out.
This was the one I was most interested in.
Right, yeah.
All those kids are wearing.
We'll do as best we can, and if
Or a few of them like
if
that.
I mean,
if
I
the
can
agenda
add,
setting
like-
meeting needs to happen
Well, I
before
looked at
I'm
everything
back,
on my
you can do
laptop,
that
and then
too,
I
and
brought
either I
this
can
and-
call in
Well,
or.
Roger's out on this week, so it's not like, you know, a lot of times they're still there. We'll just go with the Tuesday, and then
Make it.
even if I
And
put
then
stuff on there and like the other stuff I have to
Yeah, because when I
add.
looked at it,
The big thing would be to get the budget stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all the agenda topics, I do have a little bit of, last time we talked about the superintendent evaluation. I have talked with Joe, and he is doing it through, he kind of experimented and felt that the Google Docs, going through that would be more secure. And so he is in the, and he did we did a little test run, and it seems to be working.
Okay.
So.
But will Google Docs tabulate it for
Yeah,
you?
it tabulates it and
Oh,
it
great.
does some nice little bar graphs. And
Oh, okay,
Beautiful.
so,
great.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Nice.
So that should
That'll
good.
be able to just then roll over and be.
I do want to make one more comment. I forgot to mention something when we were doing the budget workshop. There was, I know we talked at a prior meeting, there was a question about the trucks. And we posted it today under the transportation. I forgot to mention that when we were going through there. But that lists all the 4 vehicles that we have and the ones that we're replacing.
Okay,
Yeah, the truck sheet.
Yeah, the truck sheet, yes.
Thank you, that was helpful.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, so.
okay, all right, good, thank you.
Yeah.
New agenda topics? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I just have a couple of items, if I
Oh,
may.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
I'll give this to you, Leonard. It was handed out at the BOCES board meeting on data breach and cyber liability coverage.
Mhm.
This one school down south got, their data was breached and their insurance didn't cover a lot of it. So it was over $100,000, so making sure that.
We do have, we have coverage on that.
And the other thing, I think everybody got in the mail, should have gotten in the mail, the BOCES budget
Yeah.
came. Encourage your attendance. It's up in Malone, unfortunately, but Wednesday, April 11th. So that's it. Thanks.
And that's what I put on Board Docs also.
Right. Yeah,
okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah.
thank you.
Karen, I don't need a hard copy of that, do
It's on Board Docs.
I? Okay.
Here,
No, that's fine.
I've got 2 of them.
Okay, great, thank you.
Rick
Oh, 'cause you
sits
get
on the
one.
BOCES board.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right, good. Anything else? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'm not doing it.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second? You don't want a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, right, everybody? 6-4-0.
Double meeting.
Yeah. I would-
Mary, do you want this to stay plugged in so it fully charges? Do you want me to leave it here?
You can.
I was skiing in the woods at quarter up.
Time to shut her off.
6:30.
I was,
You said when